Welcome to Style with Trish. I'm your host, Trish Standley, and today we have a wonderful guest, none other than real estate agent Marty Pettiford. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Every day a woman reigns. It's time to live your dreams. Nothing's gonna stop you now. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Every day a woman reigns. Every day a woman reigns.
Welcome to Style with Trish. My guest today is long-time friend, long time friend, none other than Marty Pettiford. Welcome to Style with Trish.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It feels so good to be back.
Right. And we say you're coming back because when we started initially Style with Trish back in, I can't even remember what year. We started, I want to say 2008, 9, somewhere around there.
Like 12.
12, more like 12. Okay. See, your mind better than mine. But when we started Style with Trish,
2011.
2011, okay. So when we started on the radio, Blog Talk Radio to be specific, and you had your own segment titled Martatia's Closet. Share a little bit about that before we go into what you're doing now.
So at that time, I was just 21. That's how I remembered it, because I was really into fashion and I wanted to go into styling, and that's what I was doing as a side hustle. So the Martatia's Closet, like what I was doing every week, that segment was a good way for me to just, be involved in my hobby of styling and fashion and still doing what I wanted to do, because I went to Savannah College of Art and Design for fashion design. And it was just what I was into at the time. But, as you get older, your hobbies and your interests change. But I think everybody, like, once you're a lover of fashion, you're always a lover of fashion. So that never changes. But yeah, that's where that came from. And it just allowed me to have an outlet for my love of fashion.
And I think it probably prepared you and put you into the field that you're in now in the way. We'll talk about that and expound on it a little bit later. But I think it allowed you to kind of maneuver into the area that you're in now. You are a new mom. I know you very well. New wife, new mom. Share that part of your life and how you transitioned from being a single woman into finding the right one, or he found you, and starting a new family. What is that life like for you now?
So when I left Style with Trish, I was leaving because I was moving to Savannah and starting a new career with the company that I was with. I was going into management. And so I was going into that as a single woman at the time. I had a boyfriend, but it was new. And literally a year later, we were married.
Yeah.
So it went very quickly. Yeah, like when you know.
Right.
So we met, we had met prior, but we started dating a few months prior to me moving and leaving Style with Trish. And then that December we got engaged, and then the next July we got married. And then the following year we bought our first house and we ended up having our first son. So he'll be 4 in October. And yeah, now we have our second child, which is a little girl, and she just turned 18 months. So it's a total 180 from where I was before. And it's funny because, like, after you reach a certain point in motherhood, and I feel like after the baby stage is over, you can start, trying to find yourself again and relax just a little bit. And so that's where I'm at now in my life. And my husband, he's always been an entrepreneur. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm an entrepreneur now too. So what we do works together. He incorporates me in his business and vice versa. And so, we have a family goal of creating generational wealth, and everything we do, no matter if it's real estate or starting new companies, that's our main goal for our family. So that's what life has been like for me lately.
Yeah, and it is because baby, she's only 18 months, and so she's still toddler age, and within the next couple of years, you'll be able to do a woosah. Yeah, I'm just sharing from experience. You'll be able to do woosah. You'll be able to take a deep breath. One of the questions I want to ask you and for you to share with our audience is, what was your mindset like when you were at the place, the line of where you're saying, okay, well, I'm going to leave this thing that is solid, that is consistent, and venture off into being my own boss with such a young family? What was your mindset like?
So originally, I never ever wanted to be an entrepreneur. I used to work for commission before, and I was working for a company, and I didn't like the inconsistency with the money. So I was always like, once I get a job, I'm a W-2 employee, I will forever be that. My husband, he can do whatever he wants to do, but I will make the steady money and just bring in money that way, because I wasn't comfortable with that idea at all. So it actually came out of a place of desperation. I was not fulfilled in what I was doing. I had gotten a promotion for like my dream job at the time. And then they did away, like 2 months later, they did away with the position, and I got put back into what I was doing before in a worse situation. So I wasn't happy, and I made a plan to leave then. And that was in 2020. So my goal was March of 2020, I was going to work. I was going to put in my 2 weeks notice, March 15th. And the same week, the COVID shutdown happened. So I just was like, okay, it's meant to be. I'm just going to be here, but I'm going to continue trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And at the time I was driving to work crying, because like that was a thing. Well, I just hate going to work. I would just cry on the way to work. And I was like, God, what do you want me to do? And I wanted to do something that I liked. And I was like, well, I don't like to do anything. I like to shop, and I like to watch HGTV. And then it came to me, I was like, real estate, I could be a realtor. So like that day I started looking for courses, for classes. I enrolled in a class, and I started studying for my real estate license. And the passion just kind of grew from there. And that's how I got to that position. It was out of necessity. And then once I realized, I had this preconception notion that being rich was bad and having money was bad. Like you're supposed to have just enough. And once I got rid of that, and I learned like it's possible to make money and be fulfilled, because you can't help other people if you don't have it yourself. So, and then I learned like the 1%, top 1% in America makes $400,000. And I was like, that's all? So that became my goal. Like if I can do that, I can be in the top 1% in America and essentially live a financial free life. And there's no shame in that. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as, I'm doing the right thing with the money. And that kind of just liberated the way that I thought and reassessed what I felt about being an entrepreneur, because I wasn't going to get that working with the job that I was working in. And I didn't want to go from one company to the next, making other people a lot of money, when I could take those same skills that I had, the skills that I worked on and I was so proud of, and do it for myself.
And one of the things that I received from what you were saying is that a lot of times when we're in those transitioning moments, it takes a breaking. And it sounds like to me that at the moment that you broke, even though you were crying on the, in the car every day on your way to work, it was necessary for you to break, and you're like, okay, God, what am I supposed to do next? Then your whole mindset just changed, just shifted, and I've never heard anyone say that they thought it was not a good thing to make money or to be wealthy. But there are people who think that. If you could share one thing before we go into our first break, if you could share one thing with someone who was right at that moment, they're in their car as we speak, crying on their way to someplace they don't love, they don't appreciate, well, I won't say don't appreciate, but someplace they don't love, they don't feel like they can grow and flourish. What is a word of encouragement that you can give them just in this moment right now?
So one of the things that helped me was like, at this day and age, we have so many resources that are available to us that we can just go out there and start our own business with very little resources and very little background. So my advice would be to find something that you're passionate about and figure out how to make money with it. Because that's kind of the hardest part, is connecting the pieces. And once you connect those pieces, you know what you're passionate about, and you can figure out a way to make that your income. There are so many resources out there to help you get from starting to the next step and then to the finish line.
And the thing, the key thing that you said was passion. Something that you're passionate about, you may not always get paid to do it. And you in your spirit and in your mind and in your heart, you have to be okay with sometimes not getting paid,
Right.
but you're still living out your passion. But thank you. We're gonna take a really quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna have more with Marty Pettiford. We'll be right back. Welcome to Trish's Treasures. This is where I share some of my favorite beloved products that I use on myself with you. One of the things that is most meaningful and really helps me and keeps me motivated is aromatherapy. And I have a candle for you. If you noticed when you watch Style with Trish, we are constantly having candles burning on set. I am an avid candle and burner and you name it, aromatherapy throughout my house because it really helps me to relax. It gives me a sense of self and keeps me grounded, and if you will. And so we are offering multi-scents, multi-aroma candles just for you. All you have to do is check us out at trishstandley.com. You will love this product. It is a Trish treasure.
Hi guys, it's Dr. Cassandra Parks Evans, affectionately known as Dr. San, and this is your segment of Let's Learn Love. Hi guys, this is Dr. San with your Let's Learn Love segment, and today we're talking about good sexual health for women. You know, as of recently, we've known that Roe versus Wade has been overturned, but what can we do as women to keep our sexual health intact and know what we need to do to keep ourselves on the right road? The first thing I will always say is make sure that you get those checkups on time. We need to make sure that we're having good sexual health by going to our gynecologist and making sure that we're getting those scheduled tests. Also, if you are still in the times of menstruation, make sure that you have all of your timings together. Sometimes it's not exactly right, but as we know, we want to make sure that we're counting all our weeks and we're making sure that everything is on track and that we're tracking what we need to know as far as our sexual health. And the last thing that I will say that we need to do for our community as far as helping Roe versus Wade getting back on track is making sure that you reach out to an organization that specializes with dealing with women's health, whichever way that you believe. But make sure that you are working with them so that you make sure that your voice is heard. Well, until then, this has been Let's Learn Love, and I'm Dr. Sam. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. We would love to hear from you and what you think about the Roe versus Wade. Do you think that it should have been overturned? If not, let us know why it shouldn't have been overturned. And until then, see you later.
Welcome back to Style with Trish. We're continuing our conversation with my guest today, real estate guru, Marty Pettiford. Let's dig into we're here in Atlanta, so we're going to specifically talk about the market here. But there have been a lot of misconceptions surrounding the real estate business. Share just a couple of misconceptions that new buyers may run into or they come in with the wrong mindset around.
Yeah, so the media right now is just, there's a lot of fear mongering going on. So I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and a lot of the content I put out is to just kind of put out all the facts out there and what it's really like when you're actively looking for a home. So a lot of people, if you're in a market, Atlanta is one of the top 10 markets of growth as far as real estate is concerned within these past couple of years. So a lot of people are moving here, and a lot of people, they have this misconception that it's unaffordable, that they won't be able to find, the home that they would love to live in. And the things that I have to dispel that are, number one, everything can be affordable. You just have to realign your expectations of what you're looking for. So if you're going to find your first home, you might not have your dream home. It might be a condo or a townhome, but the goal is to have a place to live and shelter. That's the main goal, and to have ownership in something, because your first property will get you to your next property, and that's done by building equity. And if you're not building equity, because you're renting, you will never get to your dream home, unless you just win the lottery. So the more realistic way is find out what you can afford and then start small and invest that way.
Yeah. And we were sharing off camera, and you was sharing some of the which was a mindset thing that I have, is that you have to have perfect credit, or you have to have all of your debt paid off and be debt free. And you were sharing a couple of banks that are willing to work with you. And you may not want to say the banks, but opportunities that some banks are offering. Share that information if you would.
Yeah, so right now there have been a lot of programs that come out, and some have been out, but they've kind of revamped it, where they're doing a 100% financing and covering your closing costs. And there's a big bank that's doing that right now, and they're testing it out in the Atlanta market. That's one of the markets. So it's a prime time for people that live in Georgia in the Atlanta area to take advantage of that. And there's always been down payment assistance. And when the market was really high, those programs kind of went away, like faded to the background. They weren't actively running, but now they're coming back because the market is a bit more challenging. And it was challenging before, but now it's more challenging in a different way.
Okay.
So there are programs out there to help with home ownership. You don't have to put 20% down to buy a home. You can put down, with a VA loan or USDA loan, if you're buying in a rural area, 0%. And if you're talking about conventional FHA, you're starting at 3.5%, depending on your credit. And so the barrier of the barrier of entry is not absurdly high as someone might think. So my advice to everyone, if you're thinking about getting a home, even if it's not right now, but if it's in the next 2 to 3 years, talk to a loan officer, figure out what you need to do. You need to talk to someone that you trust, and have them give you a plan to obtain that goal of home ownership, because you might not have to pay off all your credit card debt in order to qualify for a loan.
Okay.
You might only have like a few points to go to get that good score to get a good interest rate. So my advice is just to talk to a professional and don't just assume or what the media is telling you or what you see on TikTok. Just talk to a professional on the phone, face to face, and get your specific plan laid out.
Yeah. And I think that is so, to me, it made it seem, I'm not looking for a home, but it made it seem a lot more attainable if the key word that you said is plan. Even if you're not going to do it this year, but you're planning on doing it in the next couple of years, why not get a plan laid out so that when you are ready, you can just walk in it? Because I always thought that the credit had to be absolute perfect. But it is based on income as well. Let's talk about that real quickly. A couple years back, they were doing the balloon payments as far as interest. How is that part of the business going now?
Okay, so loans and interest rates and different loan types. So balloon payments are not, you don't want to use that to purchase your main residence. And I'm not a loan officer, I'm just a real estate agent. So just coming from the perspective of me being a homeowner, the typical loan will look like a 30-year mortgage, but you also have 15-year fixed rate mortgages. And when I say 30-year mortgage, I mean 30-year fixed, which means your payment isn't going to increase or decrease. But what we're also seeing, because interest rates are going up, we're also seeing the resurfacing of adjustable rate mortgages, which isn't totally a bad thing. A lot of people had those adjustable rate mortgages back in 2006, and it kind of exacerbated the crash that happened in 2008. But they also weren't lending responsibly to those consumers. So with an adjustable rate mortgage, your mortgage payment will go up because your rate will go up, but only after the set number of years that you choose. So sometimes there's 7-year adjustable rate mortgages where you have the same payment and a low interest rate for 7 years. So you have 7 years to refinance into a fixed rate. Okay. So it's not as scary as it sounds. And I know a lot of people, when we start talking about adjustable rate mortgages, a lot of people are like, that's what led to the crash in 2008. It was a lot more going on, but it's still a responsible way to get a lower interest rate and, refinance later.
Okay. Now that made a lot of sense. And I think that's really important, that if we are looking for something that is an investment like a home, that you seek out a professional instead of going off of what you assume. The thing I love about you and your whole approach to, because there's a lot of real estate agents out there, but I love your approach especially on social media. Share, because you're on there every day, more than once a day.
Try to be.
You're educating us. How does that aspect fit in with mom, wife, entrepreneur, and then I have to do this piece as well? How does all that work for you?
So the social media aspect and making content is a part of my business. So my husband, he's a photographer. He's also a media and branding expert, and he has his own YouTube channel. So he does pretty much everything as far as marketing and media is concerned. So the first thing he said to me, I know you have a real estate company, but we are a media company first. So you're not going to get clients. Well, there's plenty of ways to get clients, so leads as we call them in the industry. But the most convenient way right now is through social media. And we've invested a lot into our video production and creating content because we understand people aren't looking at the TV shows. They're not looking for commercials on TVs. They're not listening to the radio to hear ads. And nobody's really looking at billboards, when they're driving. So where are they? They're on their phone. So in order to get the information out there, it has to be on social media where people are spending most of their time. So that's how I put that aspect of like, that's just a part of my job that I do. And it looks like I'm on social media all day, which sometimes I am like looking, not really producing content all day, but I just film all my content at one time. I send it off to get edited and then I just put it out there every day. And meanwhile, in the background, I'm just working on my real estate business, the actual real estate part of it. But I think it's important for consumers to get information that's digestible and bite-sized from a professional, as opposed to just looking at, seeing what like a flash across the news screen, housing rates are going up and they don't know the context behind it. So putting it out on social, I can really explain it to them. And then if they have more questions, you can reach out to me. You can call me or you can, DM me.
Yeah. And I think it's also important that they can see your personality and see how infectious you are. And so they have that expectation. Okay, this is a personality I would like to work with on the professional end. But thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. If you would, where would you like to see yourself, you and your husband's business in the next this is a two-part question, in the next 3 years, and also after that, before that, answer your style of selling real estate. What's your personal style of selling real estate? And then I'll ask you the second question after that.
So my personal style of selling real estate, I don't sell real estate. Real estate is going to sell itself because I can't make you like a house enough to buy it. You're going to, my job is to put all of your options in front of you. And then really the selling comes on me selling myself by putting out that valuable content. So if I'm providing value to you, hopefully you would want to work with me. And then I can give you all your options to finding your dream home, your first time home, your investment property. And so I don't feel like there's that much selling that I'm doing right now in real estate, because I show you the houses. You tell me if you want to go see it and we go see it. I can give you advice and suggestions, but at the end, the client is the one that makes the choice.
So your style is not pushy.
Exactly.
I
just present the facts and I'm good either way. A lot of people are tied up in they're commission hungry because we do get paid on commission. We don't get paid every time we go show you a house. It's from that final sale. And a lot of people, I don't say a lot of people, but some realtors, they are just only about the commission. They don't care about the client and the process and what's best for them. And while I make sure not to be pushy with my advice, I'm just going to tell you the best option and as well as the other options so you can make an informed decision. And that's really my style.
Okay. And the last question, where would you like to see your whole conglomerate in the next 2 to 3 years?
So we're working towards that. So my husband, he has our media company is Pettiford Creative, a real estate company. Even though I'm under a broker, I'm with eXp Realty right now. And my real estate company is Pettiford Properties. And then the personal brand that I have is Marty Loves Home. So all of that we're working together. So we're definitely going to be expanding on that with my real estate production and just going out into other lanes of entrepreneurship. So I was talking to you off camera about our next move, which would probably be probably be logistics and starting a trucking company, because our goal is to get at least 7 streams of income coming in. So we have 3 so far, and we're just expounding on that. And then my personal brand, Marty Loves Homes, I don't know where I want to go with that, but it could be branded to more of a home aesthetic brand. So we can go into products at that point. We can go into interior design at that point. It's just very wide open. So we're at the beginning stages, but everything is an option right now.
Yeah. And you're open to receive whatever. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming hanging out with me.
Thank you for inviting me. It's so good to be with you again.
Right. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today on Style with Trish. My guest once again is real estate guru, Marty Pettiford. We'll be right back.
Have you ever thought about having your own talk show? Well, you don't have to question yourself any further. From concept to completion, Mark Squared Studios can easily take you through a traditional 3-step process for any video production. Whether it's a small business commercial, talk show, cooking show, or even a web miniseries. Contact us today and we'll help you unbox your creativity.
I'm often asked the question, why the title Style with Trish? And to answer that question is very simple. For me, style isn't just what's on the outer appearance of a woman. It is what is on the inside, which is actually more important. And so what we want to do and how we want to incorporate that into our show is that we excitedly bring on guests who feed into the building of self-esteem, as far as mental health and improving yourself, self-help. We bring guests on and experts on to actually help us build those areas, increase those areas to make us a better us on the inside. Once we're built healthily on the inside, then we can start rocking out the outer look. Outer look is the easiest part to redo, to fix. The inner is what's the most difficult. So style isn't just what's on the outside. It actually starts with what you possess on the inside. Hey guys, this is Trish Standley. Catch up on season 1 of Style with Trish by going to trishstanley.com. If you are not able to catch the show on YouTube, make sure you go to my website, trishstanley.com, and check out our podcast, trishstanley.com. I'd like to thank today's guest, none other than Marty Pettiford, who is real estate guru, as I call her. And the thing that I love about Marty and what she was saying about her particular style is that she just provides the information, all the information, and allows her customer to make their own decision. And the other thing that I love about her is that she is so present on social media. And if you don't know, if you're hesitant about going in this direction of real estate and ownership, she's very easy to follow on social media. So make sure you guys check her out. I love her in that platform. I love her in that place. She's magnificent there. But I want to thank her once again for coming and join us. And thank you guys for joining us as well. As I always say, love isn't love unless you give it away. Give some love away today.